Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Professional Rec, our YouTube channel. It's a good day to be alive. It's the 21st of June, 2025. I'm glad to be here, and today we're going to talk about lamination. This is a topic that's related to moisture control in a masonry construction, or actually in any kind of construction, but we're keeping it about masonry construction. If you remember, if you've watched our previous video about DPM, about damp proofing and moisture control in construction, masonry construction. You should have learned that there is a lot that pertains to moisture control in building and construction. So today I'll be talking about lamination. This is a topic that I found fascinating because somebody asked me a question and somebody asked me to talk about this topic. So please do not go away and stay tuned to the end. So, what is lamination? What is lamination in building and construction? Lamination is the loss of adhesive bonds or adhesive force between materials used in construction. What I mean is this: when you apply plaster to your walls, it means that you're mixing sand and cement, and probably water cement or probably waterproof cement. And when you mix these things, these materials, you add water, you again mix thoroughly to get a uniform mixture. And then you take the mixture, you apply to the wall. When you apply to the wall, it dries up, you cure it, and then it dries up. When it dries up, it sticks to your wall very, very tight. In fact, it's very, very hard to remove the plaster from the wall once you've applied it. You'll need a lot of force. But then there are situations or there are cases. Have you ever found the plaster separating from the bricks or from the stones that you've used in construction? That happens, right? If you've seen it, that is what we call lamination or delamination or warping. So I'll talk about lamination in the context of moisture control in building and construction. Uh, what I mean is that lamination can also be caused by moisture or water rising up from the ground through your walls, through your your floor, through the walls, and then it will cause the plaster to warp or the plaster to fall off. That falling off is because the force, the adhesive bond that keeps the plaster to the wall has been lost. So it falls off. That is one. Secondly, you can also find a situation where you've applied paint to your walls, and then after some time, the paint kind of just starts to peel off. It forms a white powder. Mostly you'll find it in ceiling boards that have been zenye zimemwagwa ile yenye si ya nini, ceiling boards where you've the top, I mean the roof part of the house, or the top part where you've not used the normal ceiling board, or rather maybe you've used the bars, the those deformed bars, and then you used concrete, and then you applied plaster, and then you finished off with paint. You find that the paint on your roof or on the top side of your house is starting to form some powdery substance, and then it falls off. It just peels from the wall, from the ceiling, from the walls, right? If you've seen that's a major problem in so many houses, in so many spaces, in so many buildings. It can happen whether it can happen inside the house or outside the house. It's a menace around, especially around where in Kakamega County, in Western region. I've seen so many homes, so many offices, so many buildings with this problem. And so today I decided to talk about it. What is the cause of this lamination? What causes lamination? If you've seen our previous video about waterproofing, and the use of DPM membrane or DPM polythene sheet in damp proofing your home, making it moisture free in the future from the time you construct it onwards forever. You should understand what damp proofing is about, what I mean by that, and how it can be achieved. So lamination is actually the main cause of lamination in this region is poor moisture. control. If you don't control the moisture correctly during the initial stages of construction, you're going to have a problem. So you might have a house where you actually applied the DPM, you applied the DPC, you applied waterproof cement and all that. You ensure that the building is waterproofed or is damp proofed thoroughly, but still you have that problem. What could be the issue? You have to ask yourself that question. And so many home owners, so many people who engage in a developmental or a construction of homes, owners, and customers in general, people, they have a lot of problems related to this thing called lamination. Lamination. So I talked about in a situation where you might have actually ensured that your project, your floor is, and your walls are completely damp proofed using DPM or other mechanisms, but still you have this problem. What is the cause? What is the cause of this? I want to let you in on a secret that not so many people understand, not so many people know. Actually, utapata even fundis, contractors, engineers, they some know it, some know about it, but somehow they don't take it that seriously. And somehow and others right out, they just don't know. They don't know what to do to ensure that your home or whatever they are constructing is properly damp proofed. What happens is that you have this, sorry, you have these, let me, you have this as your walls, right? These are your walls. This is the wall and this is the floor, right? This is the wall and this is the floor. So you apply your DPM. You apply your DPM. You followed my previous video. Let's say, for example, you followed my previous video and you've ensured that your home is constructed using proper gauge, proper type of DPM. So this is your DPM, right? The sheet, you lay it on the floor like that, right? Makes sense. You've done everything right. But have you? Have you done everything right? Not so many people understand this. When you're applying this DPM to the floor, it is paramount, it is important that you apply it to ensure that it reaches the feet of the wall, the, the lower side, that where the wall hits the floor, that the DPM actually reaches there, and if possible, actually for good measure, ensure that it somehow falls like that. Seeing what I'm doing? You do it like that. So that this is your DPM. Let's say you could do that, and I'm hoping that I'll find a project. Probably I'll come across a project very soon where I'm doing this, and then I'll illustrate it to you in the field, so that you understand, you get exactly what I mean by this. You fold it like that, your DPM, right? Your karatasi yako, your polythene sheet, then you place it there like that to ensure that some of it starts like kind of climbing up the wall, and then the rest like that. You do that for all the four corners. If the structure has four corners, if it has three, do the same. Where the floor hits the or the wall hits the floor, you place that DPM in that manner for the best results. You don't want to miss this, because what happens with lamination is people do forget. They place their DPM on the floor, right, like that, and they leave a very small space, actually almost unnoticed, or just negligence, or just thinking that it doesn't matter, that small space, let's say like 1 inch, that space doesn't matter. Now that's where people go wrong, and this is the main cause of lamination in buildings, because the minute that DPM doesn't reach the wall properly, you know what happens? That small area, that slice of space that you are neglecting. That is where the moisture from the ground climbs through your plaster, right? See, you've already the DPM is usually placed during the initial construction when you are laying the stones, not during plaster, not during plastering. So you did this, you laid your DPM during the stone laying process or brick laying process, and then you left that space. And then when you come, you apply your plaster. The plaster covers that 1 inch, probably, or less than an inch, or whichever the amount of space you left, so that it doesn't seem like you left any space. Now that is where the moisture from the ground climbs through your walls, right? And then the walls start doing what? Laminating. They start losing their adhesive bond with the bricks, and then the mortar, the plaster just falls off. Right? You understand that? You have to understand this. You have to, if you are the homeowner and you don't trust your contractor that they'll do the right thing, ensure that this happens. Ensure that they do this, because the problems associated with laminating will come. And when those problems come, they're usually bad problems. You'd rather you had just prevented them before they happened, right? So ensure that this is the correct method of laying DPM. I talked about DPM in the previous video. Please look out for this one and ensure that you do it the right way. You don't want to miss out. If you do this the wrong way, if you lay your DPM the wrong way, you'll have very bad results and you'll regret everything. So when this moisture comes up, it actually you have you ever gone to a room or to a place, a building where the paint never dries? They'll tell you that this paint was applied, let's say, like 6 months ago, 3 months ago, a year ago. The paint never dried. Why? Why did the paint never dry? Lamination. The moisture keeps coming. So from the time the the paint was applied, the plaster was applied, the moisture kept coming. So the wall actually never dried. You might touch it, think that it has dried, but no. And probably if it is a sunny season where the climate is hot, it might look like it dried. Maybe the ground doesn't have enough moisture, so the wall will look like it dried. So you apply your paint thinking that everything is okay, and then the moisture just keeps coming, just keeps your paint wet forever. If you have ever encountered this, please talk to me about the same in the comment section. Talk to me about your experience leave a comment about your experience, and probably if you can maybe share pictures of the same, so that people can learn and understand that lamination is a real problem and it is actually disturbing people all over. Go into any building, you'll find this: the paint never dried, or the paint just flex, just laminates, just delaminates, just waps from the walls. That's enough for today. I just wanted to talk to you, to share with you the information about lamination. And please leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, talk to us about, leave a like, share the channel, please, so that we want to educate as many people as possible. We want people to understand building and construction. We don't want this idea of people engaging in the same projects year in, year out. After you've done your construction, you have to now to go about renovation, because the paint never dried, because the paint is laminating and all that. We don't want that to happen. So we'll try to save you uh, money and time and effort by giving you as much information about building and construction as possible. And if you like this content, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe. Until then, be peaceful.